In this episode, we talk about Tua and Jordan Love's contract extension. Plus, I give you my take on the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL for the upcoming season. Episode 39 of N1 from the End Zone starts now. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it. Ladies and gentlemen, first I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my subscribers. As we continue to grow, we have now surpassed over 2,500 subs. I appreciate all the love and support, and I genuinely hope you're enjoying this content. Please leave a comment so I know if you agree or disagree with my takes. Plus, I need some ideas of what I should discuss here in the End Zone. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. First things first, ladies and gentlemen. So on Friday of last week, both Tua and Jordan Love got their contract extensions. Tua agreed to a 4-year, $212.4 million contract extension with $167 million guaranteed. Jordan Love signed within a few hours after Tua a 4-year, $220 million contract extension with the $100 million guaranteed at signing and $160.3 million guaranteed after only 2 seasons. Jordan Love is now tied for the highest paid quarterback in the league, while Tua is 4th on that list, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about Tua's contract first. I honestly think signing Tua to a 4-year, $212 million contract extension was the right move by the Miami Dolphins. Tua, since he's gotten to Miami, has stabilized the most important position that needs to be stabilized, and that is quarterback. Dolphins haven't had a quarterback since Dan Marino. One could argue Randall Cunningham was a good fit for them at the time, but that's neither the here nor there. Just to stick to this narrative, we'll say they haven't had a quarterback since Dan Marino, and Tua, since he's gotten to Miami, has managed to win games. Yes, I understand that when he first got there, it was a bit of a shaky situation with Brian Flores, who didn't want to start Tua, and also, the Dolphins did everything in their power to move off of him for Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson, other players who they thought were a better fit for Miami and could make them real contenders. However, when Tua finally got the opportunity to start, Miami would somehow manage to win their games because he knows how to analyze the field. Yes, he's not the tallest or the best quarterback when it comes to cold weather, but Tua still manages to not put the ball at risk and really manages to put the team in the best possible position when it comes to winning. It's a team sport, and he has 2 amazing weapons with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Not to mention he has a top-tier running back in Raheem Mostert, who I believe is one of the most underrated backs in the league. Since getting Mike McDaniel, Tua has elevated his game. Tua is heading into year 3 with Mike McDaniel, and this is the first time I believe in his career where he's going through an offseason as the number 1 guy and completely healthy. During Mike McDaniel's first season as the head coach, Tua dealt with a lot of concussion issues, so he was going into last season, Mike's second year as the head coach, trying to just stay healthy and stay on the field and protect himself from any further head injuries. Prior to Mike McDaniel getting there, Tua dealt with fractured ribs, a broken finger, and a coaching staff that genuinely didn't believe in him. Even under the coaching regimen that didn't believe in him, Dolphins would still win games with Tua as the starter. And I am honestly comfortable with the sample size of Tua's career to justify paying him a 4-year, $212 million contract. It makes the Dolphins competitive, and they have a shot at going on a run if things fall their way. Are they on my list of top 4 AFC contenders? No. I still have Kansas City as number 1, Cincinnati and Baltimore as 2 and 3. Those 2 are interchangeable. And I have the Texans as number 4. I like what they're doing down in Houston. I like CJ Stroud. And again, it's another Shanahan disciple in Bobby Slowick running that offense, similar to how the Dolphins have Mike McDaniel. I just think CJ Stroud is a better, more talented quarterback than Tua. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Jordan Love's contract, I genuinely don't believe you can justify him being tied for the highest paid quarterback in the league. The only thing Love has accomplished since becoming the starter in Green Bay was upsetting the Cowboys, who were at home in the playoffs. He put up great numbers the last 10 games that he started, but the season is judged as a whole, not just those 10 games. In 18 career starts, he's 9-9. Yes, he has a 35-14 touchdown to interception ratio, but Green Bay is doing with Jordan Love what the Niners did with Jimmy G at the time. At least Jordan Love had 10 games where he looked hot. Plus, he had a full season starting last year, but I still don't believe you can justify paying him tied for the highest paid quarterback in the league, especially with the likes of Joe Burrow and even Trevor Lawrence. Look, I'm not even a Trevor Lawrence guy, but since Trevor has been in the league, he's been the starter each year for Jacksonville. So there is a big enough sample size for his career. I could justify him being one of the top guys, even though I think they overpaid for him. He's not going to remain at that spot for very long, especially with the salary cap going up. Joey B, you can justify because even though he is injury prone, he's made it to a Super Bowl and he's been the franchise guy for the Cincinnati Bengals since he's gotten there. Jordan Love this upcoming year will have the opportunity to shut up the doubters like myself, who believes he will take a step back due to the fact that there is now film on him. Will he be able to take the next step, and that's make an NFC Championship game or maybe make a Super Bowl? We shall wait and see, because there is definitely film on him and teams are going to be able to see the tendencies that he has. Why am I so skeptical on Jordan Love? Because analysts and pundits have inaugurated this young man as a top 10 quarterback in the league off of 10 games that he has played last year to end the season. However, my guy Brock Purdy, who has taken his team to back-to-back NFC Championship games and even a Super Bowl, keeps being doubted and isn't even in the conversation for one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The pressure is on Jordan Love. And with that being said, now let's transition to my next topic, which is who I believe are the top 10 quarterbacks in the league heading into next season. Guys, have you heard? Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here are my top 10 quarterbacks for the upcoming season. So let's start off with the obvious number one. Do I need to say anything? It's Patrick Mahomes, ladies and gentlemen. Do I really need to explain why? He beat my Niners in the Super Bowl. He's coming off back-to-back Super Bowl winning seasons. He is the next in line to be the greatest of all time, if he's not already in some people's opinion. Patrick Mahomes is on a tier of his own. Nobody can scratch that number one spot. It's literally Patrick Mahomes, 50 tons of shit, and then number two, if you ask me. If you don't have Patrick Mahomes as number one, then you're fucking delusional, and I'm sorry about that. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, has to go to the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson. Personally, I would prefer Joe Burrow, but because Joe Burrow is so injury prone, even though he is a pocket passing quarterback who has gotten his team to a Super Bowl, I have to give Lamar Jackson his credit, mainly because he's coming off a season where he won the MVP and only lost to the reigning Super Bowl champions in the AFC Championship game. If a couple plays go their way, they don't fumble the ball, maybe the Ravens are in that Super Bowl and maybe my Niners are the champions. With that being said, Lamar is firmly in the number two spot just because he's been able to stay healthy. He's been able to show that he can throw the ball down the field, and because Joe Burrow has been injury prone. Moving on to number three. Although Joe Burrow has been injury prone, Joe Burrow is Joe Cool, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to pressure situations, when it comes to winning games that are important, Joe Burrow has showed up for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's even been able to beat Mahomes in an AFC Championship game to make it to a Super Bowl. Even though they didn't win it and lost to Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams, I believe Joe Burrow, even with his injuries, is still the third best quarterback in the NFL today. His demeanor, his size, his accuracy, and the fact that he's made the Cincinnati Bengals a viable franchise goes a very long way, in my opinion. If Joe Burrow is able to stay healthy, he's not only a threat to the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North, he's also a threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe a bigger threat than Lamar Jackson, to be frank. But again, because Lamar Jackson is coming off an MVP season where he was asked to do more and did do more, Lamar is number two and Joe Burrow this year is number three. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's where I throw my first real curveball. To some, this spot would go to Josh Allen, but personally, I have to give my number 4 spot to Brock motherfucking Purdy, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll tell you why. Brock, since he's been the starter for the San Francisco 49ers, has elevated the Pro Bowl All-Star caliber roster that he has on the San Francisco 49ers. Let's not act like Joe Burrow didn't have great weapons in Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, or when Patrick first got into the league, he didn't have a great running back in Kareem Hunt, who was in his prime, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, who was not a scrub, ladies and gentlemen, and Travis Kelce, to name a few weapons that he had. The 49ers offense prior to having Brock as the starter with Jimmy G did not look as good as it looked with Brock as the starter. When Jimmy was the starter, Debo and Kittle were the only 2 pass catchers that would produce. Once Brock became the starter, that's when we started talking about Brandon Ayuk as a legitimate number 1. That's when we actually got to see Juwan Jennings take a step forward in his progression. Yes, I understand having CMC is great, but he doesn't unlock the offense like Brock does. When the Niners had Mostert, the Dolphins running back, who is, in my opinion, underrated, he was putting up great numbers similar to CMC. I'm comfortable saying that if something were to happen to CMC, the Niners offense would still function well because we got Elijah Mitchell, who's been in the system forever, who, when he was the starter, put up decent numbers. His problem was just being injury prone, and we have a couple of backs that might actually pan out who are still young. God forbid anything happens to Brock, because if we lose him, I don't think we can make it to the playoffs, let alone make a run for a championship this upcoming year. I still believe Brock was robbed from his All-Pro selection by Dak, who had no business being an All-Pro this year. It should have been Brock, and you saw that in the playoffs when it mattered the most. Moving on to number 5, ladies and gentlemen. Personally, I put CJ Stroud there. I liked his rookie season. I believed he took big steps in his development. Houston got better this upcoming year. The additions of Stephon Diggs to the offense plus Joe Mixon, especially because Ben Slowick is literally a Kyle Shanahan disciple. I expect big things from CJ Stroud this upcoming year, and I believe he will be the 5th best quarterback in the league in this upcoming season. Another year in that system that's super friendly to quarterbacks as long as he doesn't put the ball in harm's way. If CJ Stroud has another season similar to his rookie year, but he elevates his numbers, especially with all the additions that he's going to have, he might be the 2nd best quarterback in the league by the end of the year if he can stay healthy. Number 6, I would have to go with Josh Allen, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why is because Josh Allen has lost a lot of weapons this upcoming year. Can he elevate his roster with the talent that he has around him to still be a viable contender in the AFC? I just don't know. When Josh Allen has been asked to do more for the Buffalo Bills, that's when more mistakes are committed, costing his team wins. When he was asked to do less last year, they managed to do more as a team. If they can establish a run game in Buffalo, that's going to help elevate Josh Allen on what he can do on that field and maybe elevate where I have him on my personal list. But because I know Josh Allen is so mistake prone, I can't put him any higher than Lamar, who has been the MVP twice in the league. I can't put him higher than Joe Burrow, who has been to a Super Bowl and beaten Patrick Mahomes when it's mattered the most. I can't even put him above CJ Stroud because of the fact that CJ has done more for the Texans in 1 year than Josh Allen has been able to do in his entire time in Buffalo. Buffalo had to go out of their way and get Stephon Diggs to give Josh Allen a real weapon because Josh Allen couldn't help develop the weapons that he had around him. CJ, before he got to Houston, we didn't know who Nico Collins or Tank Dell were. That's why I have Josh Allen 6th on my list. Number 7, ladies and gentlemen, I have to give it to Jared Goff. In my opinion, what he was able to do with Detroit after being traded from the Rams a couple of years ago deserves a lot of credit. He was able to stabilize a dysfunctional franchise. Yes, a lot of the credit has to go to the front office and Dan Campbell, who's the head coach. However, last year, Goff threw for over 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 12 picks, and had a 97.9 passer rating, and also had one of the best years of his career, to be completely frank with you, ladies and gentlemen. He managed to get Detroit to an NFC Championship game and even had a lead to my Niners before they ultimately collapsed. With the weapons he has around him, and also the fact he's gone toe-to-toe with Mahomes in the regular season in the past, he's also been to a Super Bowl and two NFC Championship games. Jared Goff, in my opinion, is the second best quarterback in the NFC and seventh best quarterback in the league heading into the 2024-2025 season. Number 8, in my opinion, would go to Justin Herbert. He hasn't accomplished a lot in his career. He has the physical characteristics of an elite caliber quarterback. And now that he has Jim Harbaugh as his head coach, I expect him to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league this upcoming year. Jim was able to turn around and save Alex Smith's career. And with the caliber of quarterback that Justin Herbert is, they should be favorites to make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll be able to challenge the Chiefs, but I can see them being a 10-win team this year and clinching a wild card spot. Herbert has been subject to horrendous coaching the last few years, especially when they've had an embarrassment of riches with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler on the offensive side, and a loaded defense with Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Derwin James. See, that's also another thing. They'll rank Justin Herbert as a top 10 quarterback over Brock, but he's had great talent in his time in Los Angeles, and it's just been squandered because of bad coaching. With Jim Harbaugh and less talent on the roster, I believe we will see the best of Justin Herbert because he will need to be the best if the Chargers are going to be real contenders for the playoffs, not for the Super Bowl, but to make the playoffs this upcoming year. Number 9, I may have him a little bit too high, but I have to go with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. He didn't play at all last year. He got hurt 4 plays into the season. And aside from the last year that he had with the Packers, where he was lacking a lot of motivation, I believe he still has that it factor in him that can help the Jets win important games and get them to the playoffs. Now, are they going to make any noise in the playoffs? I don't think so. But the experience, the wisdom, and he's coming off a torn Achilles, so his arm strength should still be there. Yes, Father Time is catching up with Aaron, but if he can manage to be 50% of what he was 2 years ago, I think Aaron Rodgers could be the 9th best quarterback in the league this upcoming season. I trust his football IQ, and I'm reluctantly putting him 9th because he didn't play last year. But he has such a big resume, a 4-time MVP, a former Super Bowl champion, that I gotta give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt and put him 9th on my top 10 list. He's also got great weapons in New York, so he should be a viable quarterback, if anything, this upcoming year. Last but not least, well, I guess he would be least in my top 10. I have to go with Jalen Hurts as my 10th best quarterback in the upcoming season. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles season ended horribly last year, but prior to the horrible ending, the Eagles were 10-1 before they got ran through by my Niners and had a pretty impressive stretch of wins over Kansas City and the Buffalo Bills, teams that were legitimate contenders at the end of last season. I'm not going to put Dak Prescott in my top 10 list because when it comes to facing real contenders for the playoffs, Dak doesn't show up. Whether it be NFC contenders or AFC contenders, when it matters, he fails to really put on a display. He stat padded last year against a bunch of horrible teams, and when it mattered the most in the playoffs, he didn't show up. Jalen Hurts, however, has made it to the Super Bowl, has beaten my Niners. Granted, it was with an injury-stricken Brock Purdy leading the Niners in that NFC Championship game, but he was still in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. He played well in that Super Bowl against Patty. Jalen Hurts, although the season ended horribly last year for the Eagles, is still, in my opinion, a top 10 quarterback. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My top 10 list of NFL quarterbacks heading into the 2024-2025 season. Please let me know if you agree or disagree. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit or pushback for having Brock number 4, but numbers don't lie, resume doesn't lie, and I know the people are going to be giving me shit for not having Dak in my top 10, when I'll be honest, neither Dak nor Matthew Stafford, who's also an older quarterback, deserves to be in my list. Matt had a bad year last year, and I don't think another year where he's older, especially when he doesn't necessarily have a track history of being that guy. Yes, he went on a Super Bowl run where he beat my Niners to ultimately beat the Cincinnati Bengals, but he's getting older. Aaron Donald isn't there anymore. And yeah, I'm sorry, no, not Matt Stafford nor Dak Prescott are top 10 quarterbacks in the league for the upcoming year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, introducing my guest at this time. He is a young, ambitious real estate agent in the Northern California area. His passion is sports and his faith is unwavering. He is my younger brother, Alex the Monk Peralta Hernandez. If you folks have any real estate questions, please feel free to reach out to Alex. He'd be happy to help. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Yeah, I listened to your list and I was hurt.
You were hurt? Why were you hurt?
I was hurt. I was in disbelief. I disagree. I think Matt Stafford's top 5. I think he's top 5.
What are you smoking, crack?
I
How
think
is he top 5? Did you not see the season he had last year?
I mean, he was 7th.
He played 15 games.
Okay, he was 7th in passing grade. He plays 2nd in turnovers, right behind Dak. I think it's pretty good. I'm not saying Dak is, up there.
Are they going to win 10 games?
I think they could.
Are they going to win 10 games?
I think they could.
I don't think so.
I think they could.
They lost Aaron Donald. They lost a lot of weapons. And Matt Stafford, when he was in Detroit, he didn't do jack shit with the Lions. Like, he won his Super Bowl. Yes, he has Sean McVay, but they're past. They're like, he's past his prime. I don't see it, bro.
I'm not saying he's not, past his prime, but
he's also very injury prone. That's also another thing. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not 5. Okay.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I'm gonna rescind that comment. I'm gonna take that back.
He ain't top 5.
We're talking about top 10 quarterbacks going into 2024, right?
2024, 2025. That's why I got CJ Stroud.
Okay. Then let me rescind that comment. Take it back real quick. Number 1. Well, top 3, I think, to me, Pat, Lamar, Joe Burrow.
Yep, right. In that order, right? In that order?
Yeah, in that order.
Okay.
Undeniably. I think you can put Joe Burrow 2nd. I think you can.
I would.
I think you can.
He's just so injury prone, and I have to give Lamar his respect. He's
but that's what I'm saying. I think those are interchangeable. 2 and 3.
2 and 3 are interchangeable for sure.
And then 4, the 4 is where I started to play around with the list. You put Brock. Crazy.
I did.
Crazy.
That's my guy. He was the best quarterback in the NFC in my opinion last year. He was coming off a season.
Someone would debate it was Dak. Not me. I'm just saying some would.
Get that trash. No, and then on top of that, he was going into the season coming off an elbow injury. So this year, heading into the 2024-2025 season, he's had a full off season where he's been healthy. He's been the number 1 guy. He hasn't had to worry about looking over his shoulder. He's putting more pressure on the team this year because he knows that they have to win a Super Bowl this year. And I think he's going to get it done. I genuinely believe he's going to get it done. And I think he's going to take a step forward. I honestly could see him going 40-10 this year. 40 touchdown, 10 picks. He's going to be that good.
That's kind of crazy to say. Last year you were saying he was going to, win MVP.
I was close with my predictions. And I honestly, until he faced the Ravens, he was the top contender or the top candidate to win the MVP last year. So 4th has to be my guy, Brock.
No. For me, Brock is 5th. I'm putting my boy, Jay Herbo, at 4. For this
Justin Herbert?
I have to.
You've been playing too much Madden.
I don't even have a console, okay? I don't have a console right now. It's all business.
I don't know, man.
Justin Herbert at 4.
Williams, Austin at 4. He's got he had Jordan Palmer. He had
but bad coaching. Okay. Terrible coaching.
Okay, I understand bad coaching, but we don't give Brock his credit because of the talent that he has around him. How can we give
Bro, he has weapons like
And what did Justin Herbert have his entire time with Brandon Staley?
Bad coaching.
No. He had
Bad
weapons.
Coaching.
He had to put his team on his back.
And he did. multiple times, multiple times.
He
But
only
bad
made
coaching.
the playoffs.
It was bad
once.
coaching.
He made the
Bad-
playoffs once, and he lost to the
coaching.
Raiders in a win and get into the playoffs. How do you
Bad
lose to the
coaching.
fucking Raiders?
Justin Herbert has shown up multiple times.
Ah.
He's proven that he's talented.
When he
He
had
has games where he's put up great stats. He's thrown for 300, 400 yards.
I'm not disputing he's not top 10. I don't think he's 5.
I think he is 5 for this season. For this upcoming season, I think he's going to be
this upcoming
5.
season. He might be a top 3 quarterback with Jim Harbaugh.
I thought that's what the list was. I thought that's what the list was. That's why I have him at number 4.
Right. Okay.
And that's why I have Brock at number 5. I just don't think Brock will have a better season than Justin Herbert.
I do.
Okay. Well, to each their own, brother. To each their own.
I do. I see a ring on my finger.
To each their own.
A ring on my finger. That's what I see in the future.
Hey, I hope they win a Super Bowl too, but we'll see next season, next year.
When season got Brock as the best NFC quarterback.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. And then so I have Brock at 5. Now 6 through 10 was iffy for me. Okay, because I really like Aaron Rodgers. I really think Jalen Hurts is gonna have a good season. I think CJ Stroud is gonna have a good season. I think 6 is gonna be CJ Stroud. Last year, I think he had a really, really solid, maybe last half of the season and really put the team on his back. So I think CJ Stroud is 6 for me.
That system that they run down in Houston, it's another branch of the Kyle Shanahan system. Ben Slowick is doing a great job with Houston. I think because the system is so quarterback friendly, because they've gotten Stephon Diggs, they've gotten Joe Mixon. The Houston Texans have an embarrassment of riches. If they don't make, at least in my opinion, an AFC Championship game this year, it might not be a great season. But also, if CJ Stroud goes off in the regular season, then I think he has an opportunity again to be a top 3, top 5 quarterback. I put him 5 on my list.
I put him 6. I think I put him 6 just because I think Brock is 5th, and I think Justin Herbert is gonna have a better season just with the new coaching staff and everything. I know he lost weapons, but I still think he's gonna be 4th, and then CJ Stroud is 6 just because I think D'Amico's gonna take him there. They're gonna make the playoffs again for sure, I think.
What else?
And then so 7 I have Jalen Hurts just for this upcoming season. I think with the new changes that are going on in the locker room, I think I watched some interviews. It looks like he has his confidence back, so I think this season is going to be a big season for him. It's going to be one of his better seasons, so I put him at 7.
Okay, I like it. No, I put him 10th just because of the way the season ended last year. I do believe he was hurt at some point, and he was with injuries. Also, he didn't really have an offensive coordinator. I don't care what anybody says. Sirianni is not a very good head coach, in my opinion. So I do believe Jalen Hurts deserves at least 75% of the credit. When he lost his offensive coordinator, that offense took a step back and Sirianni wasn't able to reel things in. I think Kellen Moore is a great offensive coordinator. He didn't do much last year with the Chargers, but also Justin Herbert was injured and it's a new coaching regimen there. But I think Kellen Moore is going to be able to get some of the best out of Jalen Hurts, but it won't be enough to beat my Niners. That's all I'm saying. Moving on. Who's your number 8?
Josh Allen.
Okay.
Haven't even said him yet, but I don't think he's top 5. I think 8 is a solid number for him. Just turnover prone. And this season, he doesn't really have any weapons going into the season. He doesn't really have any help. So he's going to have to, wow us with his talent. He's going to have to wow us and really show that he's capable of, taking a team the distance. So I think Josh Allen will be 8 for me.
Well, I don't disagree. I put him 6th on my list just because of the resume that he has and just because of the respect that they have him around the league. But if you're putting him 8th, I'm not going to give you much pushback on Josh Allen. Again, he's not a top 5 quarterback in my opinion, but he does fall somewhere between 6 to 10. So 8 is a respectable number for him.
Yeah, for me, 8 was solid.
Especially because he doesn't have a running game. He doesn't have any more weapons. And when he was supposed to elevate the weapons around him in his first 2 or 3 years before they got Stephon Diggs, he didn't necessarily create a go-to guy. That's also another thing. CJ Stroud in Houston He made Nico Collins and Tank Dell household names. Josh Allen had to get Stephon Diggs to have a guy that was a household name. And yeah, they could say Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis really didn't produce at that level. So yeah, I'm cool with him being 8th. What do you got 9th?
9. See, this one is this is where like I got kind of like iffy with it because I did say Matt Stafford, like earlier on top 5, but
if he could stay healthy, I don't think he'll be able to stay healthy this year.
I don't know, but then I had to take into account Aaron Rodgers, and then I had to take into account Jordan Love because I think this season he just got a bag. He just got a bag. So I think Jordan Love deserves to take top 10. I think I'm gonna put Jordan Love at 10 and at 9.
Top 10 if you want to put anybody in there. God damn, Jordan Love, really?
Yeah. Coming into this season, top 10 quarterback this season. I think so.
You know what?
He could be 10.
Maybe because
like on the cusp.
Maybe because he's a dual threat quarterback who can use his legs to get out of the pocket, and when he throws on the move, he can complete those throws. But I also believe like there's going to be tape on him. The Niners were able to adjust to him in the second half.
Hey, we almost lost that game
of the divisional. Who won?
But I'm just saying,
who blew it?
Almost lost.
Collapsed.
But we almost lost that game. But it's okay. I mean, it's okay for him to collapse because he's still. It was basically his first season playing.
Do what they always do against the Niners, and that's fucking fail miserably in the playoffs.
No. But I'm just saying, he it's his first full season, so I think there's an adjustment period.
Well, there
was for Brock,
sophomore.
So I think he will get better
for like 5 years already. I think he might take a step back. I wasn't comfortable because like we gotta take into account the entire season last year, not just the last 10 games. The entire season was about average. Yeah, he put up great numbers. I think he was 35 and 14, right? 35 and 14 last year. Yeah. So he put up great numbers, but will he be able to maintain that stride? Again, Matt LaFleur runs a version of the Shanahan offense, so it is a quarterback-friendly offense. The fact that he's a dual-threat quarterback, he could be a top 10 quarterback. I'm just very hesitant on him because my gripe is literally they put Jordan Love above Brock Purdy on a bunch of these lists, and Brock Purdy, since he's gotten into the league, has balled out, back-to-back NFC Championship games, Super Bowl. He was he was a Pro Bowler last year, and I believe he was robbed of an All-Pro selection by Dak Prescott. That's why I'm very hesitant on Jordan Love because I need to see more. If people still haven't bought into Brock,
I think I need to see more from Jordan Love. But I think going into this season, I think he's gonna show a lot of people that he's still capable of doing it. I mean, he just got paid.
Top 9. Who's your 9th guy?
No, 9. I have Aaron Rodgers. I kind of kicked Matthew Stafford out, but Aaron Rodgers.
9 and Jordan Love 10.
Yeah, I think so. Aaron Rodgers, just for the respect factor. I mean, he won an MVP 2020 and then 2021.
So who would you have 11th?
I think Matt Stafford 11th.
You got Matt Stafford at 11th.
Yeah.
I think I'd put Jordan at 11 just because I don't want to put Dak up there.
I put Dak like at 12.
I put him like 12th to 13th. I put Jordan Love at 11 just because in his 1 year starting, he was able to do, I believe, more than what Dak Prescott has been able to do with the Cowboys, especially with.
I think it's Jerry Jones, man. He's got to go.
I think they might actually sell the team. That's why they've been holding off on doing a bunch of these deals. But with that being said, like they've had an embarrassment of riches over in Dallas, just like Justin Herbert has had with the Chargers. Like they've had elite running backs. They had Ezekiel Elliott in his prime. They had Amari Cooper. They had a young CeeDee Lamb. They had Dalton Schultz, who's now balling out with Houston. They had a great defense. Micah Parsons, I believe, is overhyped in my opinion. When it comes to the playoffs, he doesn't show up. I don't remember the last time Nicky Bosa went into a game and had a 0 stat line across the board, not even a fucking tackle. So should he get paid? I think he should get paid, but I don't think it should be more than Nick Bosa. I don't think he's done enough, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think the Cowboys just not officiating, but the coaching staff is kind of messy. I just don't think, McCarthy's up for it.
I don't disagree. Well, Yo, bro, thank you for joining me on my top 10 list. I appreciate getting your feedback and your opinion on it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in buying real estate in the Northern California area, hit up Alex Peralta Hernandez. He'd be happy to answer any and all real estate questions you may have. We'll talk later, my guy.
That's it.
Guys, join me, Alex Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for an extra take on Bill Belichick. So it was reported last week that Kyle Shanahan had offered Billy Boy a opportunity to be the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I remember when Bill Belichick got let go by the New England Patriots and the Niners were still looking for a new defensive coordinator, that the Niners should go and pursue Bill Belichick. I feel a lot happier and a lot more comfortable with Nick Swanson being the DC now, especially because I was right that the Niners did try and go out and get Bill Belichick. They knew getting Bill Belichick would have taken that defense to another level, but they also had enough confidence and belief in Nick Swanson to be the next defensive coordinator for the 49ers that they just decided to go with Nick Swanson once Bill Belichick declined. I would have loved to have Bill Belichick as the Niners DC. I think with Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator, the Niners would automatically win a Super Bowl just because of the fucking defense. I would have loved it. I would have honestly loved it. But sadly, it didn't happen. Bill is trying to become a head coach. He didn't want to become a defensive coordinator. And he's also trying to take a step back, reanalyze, reassess how he's going to approach next season when other job opportunities open. Mike Vrabel would have also been another great option for the 49ers. But with all that being said, we got Nick Swanson. I believe Nick Swanson is going to be the guy for the Niners, especially with the secondary. Our cornerbacks, our safeties, they're all going to take a step forward, especially because Nick Swanson is experienced on that side of the ball. And I'm excited to see what our defense does. It sucks that we didn't get Bill Belichick. I would have loved to see him as a defensive coordinator for the 49ers, but I still have a lot of belief and faith in Nick Swanson, and I'm excited to see where the team goes defensively next year, coming off a season where I believe they left a lot to be desired, especially because I think Nick Bosa came into the year a bit behind schedule because he was holding out for a contract. He's got a full off season. We got a bunch of new defensive weapons that I'm excited to see on that field. And I believe that defense is going to be top 5, if not the best in the league next year.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Time for Empowering with Positivity. I am running a contest to give away a $25 Amazon gift card, ladies and gentlemen. This contest started at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on July 30th, 2024, and will conclude at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on August 5th. In order to enter, you must have a valid Instagram account, and in order to win, you must have a valid email and do the following. Number 1, subscribe to the N1 from the End Zone YouTube channel. Number 2, follow at N1 from the End Zone on Instagram. Number 3, send a direct message on Instagram saying you subscribed. Number 4, once we respond, send a screenshot showing that you subscribe to the N1 from the End Zone YouTube channel on Instagram to verify. And number 5, and most importantly, if you win, you must be okay with recording a video for my Empowering with Positivity segment showing that you have won, you have received a gift, and you share some positive advice with the people. The winner will be announced on N1 from the End Zone's official Instagram page. I will also be reaching out to you via Instagram, so be aware. This contest is not sponsored by YouTube in any way, shape, or form, and I am solely responsible for this giveaway. Also, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe to the Shady Mob podcast and A&A Radio YouTube channels. We will also be running a similar giveaway on those channels for a $50 and $25 Amazon gift card. Just stay tuned so when the video drops with the information on how to enter, you will be aware. Guys, please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. Share this with your friends, families, and partners. Make some money with my picks, listen to my sports takes, or just watch for some positivity. Always remember, desire is power, and if you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you for watching another episode of Unwin from the End Zone. I love and appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more.